me just give some quick advice to everybody.
Here we go.
If you see furniture on is that the camera? Can I talk right at the camera?
One, yep.
If you see furniture on the side of the road, do not pick it up.
There might be a reason.
There's a reason why it's on the side of the road. I literally get calls all the time that, I have bed bugs now, or I have German roaches now, and I'm like, well, where did you get them? That's the first thing we try to find out. Oh, I picked this dresser up on the side of the road.
Hey, what's going on, Sarasota? My name is Brad Hannon.
Trey Martell.
Felipe Colon.
And we've got all you need today. All you need pest control. We got my man Sean Hearn joining us today. What's going on, Sean?
What's going on, man? How are you? What's going on, gentlemen?
Thanks for coming.
Excited to be here.
Dude, we're excited to talk about how you purchased the company in, 2017, right?
Yes.
So 2017, he purchased this company with some partners, not private equity backed, not, investment banking money, just a couple of guys that wanted to scale a business and went into pest control, bought this company with 3 employees, 500 customers, and have now taken it to over 130 employees and 130,000 customers. Is that correct?
30,000 customers.
30,000 customers.
33.
I literally wrote 130.
No. Okay. We'll get to 130,000.
So the audience knows.
Well on the way to 130,000 customers.
Yeah, for sure.
So the audience knows. Brad also told the guests that we film at 4:30 when it was 3:30. So we've been sitting around waiting for an hour.
Yeah, if you're a future guest, just make sure it's 3:30, not 4:30. Okay.
Cool,
That's
man.
great.
So what all the audience should want to know is what's the secret sauce to that kind of scaling?
Yeah, I think the main thing is, the way that we've really looked at it is we're in the people business, right? And this is something that Steve, the president, he's the original kind of founder, right, who came up with the idea and put up the money and taught us everything, right? We're a people first business, right? Not just customers, but employees, right? So if you treat your employees well, it's going to translate it to them treating the customer well.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's really what we've focused on. Pest control is kind of the widget, right? But really, we're in the people business.
Yeah.
That's really what we tell ourselves.
And so I understand that it wasn't always dead set on pest control, right? It wasn't like this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I'm fired up about. It was pest control was a unique opportunity. So tell us how you landed on pest control, and then we'll dive into, all you need and what's going on there.
Sure. Yeah. So my background, I've done sales my entire life. So that's really my focus in the business is scaling and growing and all of that. But
making the money.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, that's what I've done my entire life, right? So I come from a completely different background. I was in marine construction, selling docks, boat lifts, seawalls, and really all of us come from different backgrounds. So, Steve did real estate development. Kyle, he was actually a server. He was my first sales rep I ever hired. Nice. So those were the 3 of us that started.
That's awesome.
So there were a few different business opportunities we were kind of looking at. Coffee shops was one of them.
Could have been a barista.
I know. I could have worked. I could have dyed my hair blue and worked at Starbucks. You know what I mean? So coffee was one of the things that we were looking at, but that's a super saturated market. We didn't really think it was gonna take off. On the
Dodge
flight
that
home,
bullet.
I know, right? I'm glad I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. every day now to
5 would probably be too late.
You could be a roofer.
I could be a roofer. Oh man, that's a tough
5 a.m.
That's a tough gig there. So then from there, Steve basically saw an ad he saw an article for a guy that built a pest control company and flipped it. So he came to me and said, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
So I was looking for another opportunity, something to grow. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. So originally we set out to build something up real quick and flip it.
Yeah.
Really what happened was we ended up kind of fall in love with the employees. They're the ones who are helping us grow this thing. They're the ones out there, grinding it out, knocking on doors, doing the services. And if we sell it out, we're kind of leaving them out to dry. So we said, you know what, we're going to totally change this up. Our whole business plan changed a few years in. And then we went to where we decided we wanted to turn it like an employee-owned company. So pretty much everyone that's helped us get to where we're going to go, they're all going to get
piece of the pie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like a profit share?
Not just a profit share, but literally ownership.
Class B shares, right?
That's
a big deal.
Phantom stock is what it's going to
I want to definitely dive into that, but I want to go back to like the early days. You bought the business in 2017. None of you guys were versed in pest control. Didn't have a background in that. So obviously there was some hurdles and some struggles. Let's talk through the beginning phases of, growing that business. Was it flip of a switch? Was it, hey, we're going to run small for a little while, get it figured out, and then grow? Or how'd that work?
And can I add to that question?
No, you cannot.
All you need to know all you need pest control, was that the name at the time, or you guys switched it up?
That was the name.
That's what you wanted to add.
Yeah, that was the name. We thought about changing it, which I'm not fully sold
sick,
on it.
Though. I love
thank you. I appreciate that.
I was about to say, what is that logo, like Sinbad or something?
Yeah,
What's going on here?
Man, it's pretty funny. So
it's basically Sean, if you can't tell.
And it's funny you say that, because Steve was at the graphic designer and was like, hey, I want to come with a logo, right? I want to get something that we can brand and build off of. So he starts sending, I'm out with a customer, I'm at a house or something like that. He starts sending me, I wish. He starts sending me pictures of this guy, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I hear him on the phone with him. He's calling me. He's like, what do you think? I hear him on the phone with the graphic designer. He's like, all right, go ahead and throw a beard on the guy. And I was like, wait a minute. It's like, hey, Sean, what color eyes do you have? I'm like, no. This isn't happening right now. So it kind of ended up being a little bit of a spinoff of
you,
I guess, yeah. But
it was like you take a picture of Sean, you put it into
he's
Chat
a little more
GPT,
buff than me. I wish I had the muscle.
That's a good shoulders. That's a good shoulders.
Well, when you're working scaling a business, man, you got to do what you got to do.
I know.
So I imagine you used to look like that in your glory days.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So
what were some of the struggles in the beginning? I know Trey derailed us with the great question on the name there, but what I wanted to get into was growing the business, right? The good stuff.
Yeah. So none of us had any background in pest control. When we bought it out, we basically had the guy that founded it was going to be a minority partner, teach us everything that that he knew about pest control, teach us the business, teach us about
how he got his 500 customers.
Exactly, right? We came to find out pretty quick he didn't really know a lot about not just like how to get customers, but about pest control in general.
Okay. Interesting.
So he wasn't like a expert in the field. You expected maybe he wouldn't be that good at business, but oh gosh, he's damn good at spraying those bugs.
That's in a lot of the smaller companies, they're really good at the actual execution part. They just don't know how to go get customers. I don't know that this, not to bash.
What was his name?
No, I got you. We don't have to dig too deep into it.
But it just, it didn't really work out.
It wasn't your vision.
Correct. So then what ended up happening is I ended up going to UF, which is like the major entomology school here in Florida. And when I wasn't, out getting customers, or even sometimes I'd hop on a tech truck and do services, I was really taking classes at UF to learn about pest control.
Yeah.
So here I am, I'm, before I started this, we started this, right? I'm, selling docks, builders, making great money, living a pretty balanced life, like on the boat all the time, life's good. Here I am learning about pest control, and I'm just like, what am I doing? Why did I do this?
Well, because Steve took an airplane ride and read an article.
But now you're enrolled in UF.
I know.
The fact that you went back and got that education, that's an important point I think people should understand. When you come into a business fresh and you haven't been, let's say you weren't at another pest control company, you don't have any bad habits.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So you start fresh, and you took the time to get educated properly, and then you brought your sales acumen into that role as well.
Sure.
Right. And then you took it from there.
Yeah. And it was nice learning from, the pros, right? UF is like the most respected entomology school in the state, one of the best in the country. So it's nice learning from the pros when it came to that kind of thing.
So you mean it's not Florida State? That's a dig at EW.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm a Florida State guy myself.
So. Felipe, leave the jokes to me. All right. That's right. So what are some of the worst pests you see when you get it out there? What gets you the most trouble?
Oh, man. So I'll go through like the most common ones we see, and then I'll go through the ones that I just...
If you see, you don't want to...
Yeah, the ones
you just need to burn the house down.
Yeah. So in Florida, ants are definitely like by far the most thing we get calls for, right? So especially now we're coming into spring and summer, we're about to start getting blown up for it. I mean, it's just how it is, right? Ants are everywhere. Fire,
rain
ants,
pushes them inside, right?
Heat, rain. They come inside for the same reason why we go inside, right? So
watch
food,
TV.
shelter, water. Yeah, watch TV.
Get a drink out of the fridge.
Yep. Yep. So,
I remember this place. Side note, this place when we redid the kitchen. I don't know what it was, but these fruit flies, dude, were like everywhere. We had those little apples with the vinegar in them. We had them like on all the desks and all the cubicles. Like there was like fruit flies flying around. Like, come on, man.
Those things come up through the drain, right?
Sometimes, it depends on the.
It was
on the
drain
type.
fly, I guess, not a fruit fly. There was
right.
true drain fly. I mean, I was watching them fly. I'm like, get your ass back in there.
Yeah, you should have called a pest company.
Should have called all you need, right? Instead, I ordered like 6 apples on Amazon. They went away eventually, but
there you go.
We're good. So those are pesky. But what else you got?
So ants. Palmetto bugs. Everyone hates big palmetto bugs. I mean, I don't care how tough you are.
By palmetto bug, you mean
cockroaches.
Cockroach. Yeah, that's a politically correct term for cockroach.
It's a nice euphemism. I like it.
Yeah. So
my wife screams once a month or so when we see one. She's like, ah! I'm like,
come
I know
on.
what that is.
Yeah.
Now I'm calling all you need.
Yeah, I mean I don't care how tough you are. I get guys that are just macho guys that are like, I'm not going in there. There's a cockroach in there,
dude.
Or the big wolf spiders. That's another thing.
I changed a toilet out at one of my old houses one time. I got the picture somewhere. I'll send it to EW and you can throw it up. But we changed the toilet.
Everybody wants to see your toilet.
We changed. No, it's not a toilet, dude. We changed the toilet out. Right, and when we pulled the old toilet off, where the seal is,
that wax ring,
the wax ring seal, like where it was onto the floor, they stayed in there, but there must have been 50 dead cockroaches around that. I'm like,
that's nasty.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Thank God my wife wasn't home for that one, but
yeah.
So you see crazy stuff like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, so the things that give me the heebie-jeebies, the German roaches are nasty. Those are the ones, the little ones that'll just infest.
Tough to get rid of.
But bed bugs are the ones that just gross me out. I'm not a big fan of those.
Now, how does one get a big bed bug infestation?
So it can be as simple. Okay, so let me just give some quick advice to everybody.
Here we go.
If you see furniture on the, is that the camera? Can I talk right in the camera?
One, yep.
If you see furniture on the side of the road, do not pick it up.
There might be
There's a reason why it's on the side of the road. I literally get calls all the time that, I have bed bugs now, or I have German roaches now. And I'm like, well, where did you get them? That's the first thing we try to find out. Oh, I picked this dresser up on the side of the road.
No.
Like, oh my gosh, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
So quick advice, do not pick up any furniture on the side of the road.
Yeah. Well, I think that goes for more than just bugs. There's probably other reasons why you
Well, that explains a lot, huh, Felipe?
Yeah.
Listen, Facebook Marketplace. A lot of people use that.
If you are gonna pick up furniture off the side of the road, leave it like outside and then sell it to somebody else to put in their house.
Yeah.
Don't put it in your house.
I'm telling you, it's but that's one way to, to answer your question, that's one way to get them in the house. Yeah. I mean, it could be as simple as staying at a hotel, right?
I was going to say, Trey, the thing I worry about is like the fine hotels, even the nicest places.
The motel.
They still got bed bugs,
the Motel 6s.
I mean, I do quite a bit of traveling now for work and try to get some pleasure travel in there. But I'll tell you, this whole industry has changed the way I look at hotels. I'm ripping sheets off, inspecting the bed before I unload anything out of my suitcase. I'm
not bringing that shit home.
No. I'm super. My wife's like, "What are you worried about?" I'm like, "You don't understand.
You don't
should have seen the things they showed me at UF under the microscope."
All right, so back on all you need. You buy in 2017.
Yep.
You grow it to 10 employees that year, 20 employees. Like, walk us through the timeline, just roughly. I mean, we're not fact checking.
Yeah.
As Felipe says, we don't fact check on this podcast.
We do not.
Just an idea of how quickly you scaled, or what were some of the first things.
So first 2 years were rough. I mean, it was literally figuring out the business.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And anything you're learning, a new skill, right? Whether it's learning how to grow it, learning how to eliminate the bugs, whatever it is, learn how to hire people, right? Like all of these things we're learning.
And you had existing customers, so it's not like you could stop doing the work.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. There are many times that, Steve called me up, was like, we're just going to sell this thing. We're just going to, I'm selling this thing. You can go get a different job. I'm done. And then he come to his senses and be like, all right, hold on. We can do this.
Right.
We can do this, right? So first 2 years were rough. Especially the first 18 months. After about 18 months, we started getting some traction. That's about when we opened up the office up here in Venice, South Sarasota. And at that point, I think we had 10 employees. So it took us maybe 12. I mean, it took us 2 years to get to that point, 3 to 12 over 2 years, right?
Okay.
And I thought we were crushing it at that point.
10, 12
we're doing
employees,
good, man. We grew to 12 employees in 2 years. And after, right when the whole COVID thing kind of happened is when things started really ramping up for us.
No kidding.
Because I think a lot of people working from home.
Yeah.
Right, they're not spending as much money, so there's a lot of extra income. And
I'll take the other side of that. I think people also realized how crummy their houses were.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Spend more
We
time
got
in it.
bugs. The pool needs to be resurfaced.
They just picked up this furniture off the side of the road.
We need a new TV.
But
yeah, exactly.
You guys do a lot of door-to-door sales, right?
So yeah, and that's how we started.
Yeah,
so straight door to door.
They're knocking while the customer's home.
So that helps too. That helped as well, right? So, and that's how the roots of our business is in door to door. Basically clover leafing around current customers, or picking a street, hopping out.
You know all about the clover leaf system, don't you?
Yeah, well, talk to us about your strategies on how you pick the neighborhood. What's the criteria, and then how you attack it. Do you use apps or you just knock?
So a little bit of both, right? So before we go out, what we'll typically do is we'll look at where our technician's going to be. Let's try to keep things efficient, because for our business everything's about efficiency.
Yeah.
We don't have pest control's not particularly expensive. Like a roof, 20 grand, I don't know, 30 grand, right?
He's like,
higher, 40, 50, right?
The ones I want.
I mean, for us, we're talking $100 ticket,
right?
$120 ticket, right? So windshield time kills us. So we have to do as many as we can without rushing, because you don't want to do a bad job, right? So for us, it's all about efficiency. So what we'll do is we'll find out where the techs are going to be that upcoming days, and just kind of work those particular areas.
In roofing, we call it you work the neighborhood around the build.
Pretty much.
Same idea.
Yeah. Same
hey,
idea,
we're down here 3 doors down spraying your lawn. Cindy loves us. You know? By the way, if she has them, you probably have them.
Correct. I mean, yeah, that is the gist of it, right? It's not rocket science. It's hard work. Not a lot of people want to do that every day. But that is the gist of it, right?
Especially your busy season is summer, it seems like. And so you're out there knocking doors in Florida.
It's hot. It's rainy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So 18 months in, you're at 10 to 12 employees, right?
Yeah.
24 months in, still kind of a struggle, but you're starting to figure it out.
Yeah, 20. So when we opened up here, that's when it really got real for me, because I moved up here. I actually brought one of my sales reps up here, and my wife works at Doctor's Hospital, so she got a job at Doctor's Hospital. That was kind of one of the catalysts to moving up here.
From where?
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. So we started. Original office was in Fort Myers.
Yep.
She got a job at Doctor's Hospital. I told Steve, "Hey, I'm gonna go open up an office up there," and he's like, "We're not ready." I'm like, "Well, I don't know really what to do." It's like,
then I'll work remote.
He said, "Well, I'll tell you what. You get to go be the technician, and I'm going to give you the worst sales rep we have, and he can live with you for 6 months till he figures it out."
That's a pretty good incentive.
And I was like,
my fiance just gave me the death eyes.
No one's living with you? No sales reps?
I mean, that's what we did.
Right.
That's literally what we did. So I would tech all day. I would literally drop my sales rep off, let him knock all day, get some customers. I'd be teching, and then when I'd be
teching.
Yeah,
I'd be teching.
Teching, yeah, spraying houses, right? Okay. And then when I'd be done with that, I would go change in a gas station bathroom into a polo and go knock doors all night.
I love it.
Yeah, so it was
some true grassroots shit.
Oh
there.
yeah, man, it was a grind.
That is the real grind.
So I got to know, how long did the sales guy live with you, and how pissed was your wife?
Oh, that's a great question. So he was there for probably 4 or 5 months, and my wife was understanding, but also frustrated, because it was the first time we got to live together, right? So our very first house, I think he was 20 at the time. His name's Diego. He's still with us. He's one of my managers at one of my offices.
Now he's got some ownership.
He's going to, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the big thing we're pushing this year. So, but yeah, my wife was pretty frustrated with the whole thing. But
so how long did it last?
He was there for probably 4 months.
Wow.
4 months until we finally got his sales high enough that he could go get his own place.
Yeah, but listen, you did something that a lot of successful entrepreneurs do. There's a term called a dundo entrepreneur. There's a whole book that an economist wrote about this. There's a group of people from India who practice this, and that's the reason that 50% of the hotels in the United States are owned by people with the same last name. Do you know the name?
Patel.
Correct. Yeah, I would say Patel probably.
Well, they also own the 7-Eleven, so explain that.
I'll spare you the rest of the details, but there's a whole book written about this, and you were doing that. That's exactly what you were doing.
I
the
think
whole family was doing it. Your wife was doing it too.
Yeah, and I think honestly,
Wait, time out. What?
It's the Dundo method.
Dundo, Austin Hearn. Dude, read the book. It's fantastic.
I'll have to read that. Yeah,
It's fantastic.
Trey doesn't read books. Send him the audio
It basically
version.
has to do with these Indians named Patel mostly. They're like, we're going to buy this hotel. We're all going to live there. You're going to be the plumber. You're going to be the, you know what I mean? Like, you were doing that.
that's
I don't think that's what happened. I think
It's about
I'll
right.
send
Yeah.
you the book, man.
I think he put his employee up for 6
And
months
he was
to get
being
on
the
his
tech,
feet.
and he was the sales manager, and he was, you know.
that is how we.
whatever.
And then eventually we got enough. You know, we end up getting enough customers where I could hire a technician up here, and then I could go more full time sales, and grow it. And now I think
So at this point, you're at 20 employees, 25.
yeah, we're probably 20 at that
two
point.
locations now.
2 locations. I'm thinking we're starting to really get some momentum.
So it kind of proved the fact that you could open a second location. If
That
you
was
can
the
open a
whole
second, well, shit. We
Correct.
might be able to open a third.
Yeah, that was the whole point.
Soon to be
right?
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 10th location starting
Coming soon.
Mid-April is the game plan. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So again, 2 locations, 25 employees, under 25
probably
employees.
probably 20 at that point.
And this is like 2000, if I'm tracking
Probably
right, it's
20
probably 2019, 2020.
2019, yeah, 2019.
So when did it
Beginning
take
of
off?
2020.
When did you hit
So
like?
and it's not one of these things where it's like all of a sudden something happened. It was just exponential, right? And
Right.
that's the cool thing about exponential growth. It's not like it's something that you have this huge catalyst that's just like an explosion, right?
Right.
It's just we've just exponentially grown every year. We've almost doubled every year. We've been in business.
That's incredible.
So,
So it's not like, it wasn't like you had an ad that you were running that just took off, or like, somebody that came in that just.
it's this culmination of all these little things, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
we're constantly checking numbers, and we all every single person in the company has a scorecard, and we're constantly trying to tweak things.
Is that based on any sort of operating system?
So EOS, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
That's
You
what,
guys
when you
familiar
said
with that?
scorecard, I figured we're actually implementing that next month.
Oh,
but
it's
that's killer.
It's a game changer. Around 2021 is when we implemented it, and I wish we did it sooner.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I believe it.
It's the only way we could organize the chaos of growing this quick.
Right.
So you're making a very good decision.
Well, we just hired I hired an executive assistant that's coming on board middle of next month. Official start to April, but she worked with a business that was on EOS.
Nice.
Right. So my issue with EOS originally was I love the books. I love I listened to Traction, read Traction, listened to Traction.
Yep.
Started reading it with some of my employees. We had an initial meeting with an implementer.
Okay.
And no offense to this guy if he sees this, but I'm just like, this guy's not run a business before. Like, how's he going to teach me how to run my business when this guy like just knows how to run the system? And of course, those that can do, those that can't teach, right? So that's
Sure.
You always have that. But I was
So this
like,
guy was a loser.
before I spent $6,000 on an implementing session or whatever, I'm like, this guy's not the right guy.
I'm curious. We'll chat after. I'm curious to see who you chatted with.
You may know him. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm
not going to name drop him.
you
but
the
if you see
implementer
this,
for
drop
us.
a comment. Make sure you share the video, subscribe.
I can tell you the implementer for us was huge from a team health standpoint.
Yeah.
Right. I think team health is extremely important. Right. We have a pretty strong leadership team. Like I was telling you, Kyle, who's our director of operations, Steve, the president. We now have director of service, who actually lives in Sarasota as well.
Great.
Fired a CFO. We're at that point now, which is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah. 130 employees. Yeah, you better have a CFO.
Yeah, which has been huge for just getting everything just dialed in.
Yeah.
Right. So having that implementer has helped more on the team health standpoint. Getting that open, honest communication between all of us. It's paid for itself tenfold.
Love it.
Yeah.
So never really took off. Just incremental growth that turned into exponential growth. Now here we are, 2024, almost at 2023.
I think the growth.
Trey, I was going somewhere.
Yeah, I
but
didn't feel it.
You go.
Listen, so I think the growth, I'm speaking from my experience, like once you figure it out, and you're like, man, I got a real strong grasp. We're good at this.
Yeah.
You know, that makes the growth that much easier, that confidence you have in yourself.
Sure.
You want to speak upon that?
That's what happened with Strong Roofing, is what Trey's saying.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, once you start
I'm good.
to
I
figure
figured
this shit out, man.
Yeah.
Once you start to kind of figure things out and you can continue to build upon those things, then it's just plug and play, right? We have the systems. We know what works. Now we just have to continue to implement that
and
in
find
different
customers.
markets, find customers, find employees, right? That's always always been a challenge.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because that's
your wheelhouse too, right? And we can talk about that more when we get into the macro. But it's also a recurring revenue model, is it not? I mean, you have monthly service plans. So basically, if you do what you promise to your customers and they're satisfied with the service, there never is going to not be bugs in Florida.
Correct.
So they're going to keep it.
So that was one of the major draws to this particular industry. When Steve came to me and said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," as the reoccurring model to me was huge because, previous industries I was in, it's always you kill what you
eat what you kill.
You eat what you kill. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So once you've done a roof, you got to find another roof to do. Right. So the benefit for us is
your business sucks, Trey. Always need roofs though.
Yeah. I mean that is true. So the benefit for this is we always know, March 1st, right around the corner. We know we're going to start
what's coming in, right?
Yeah, we know we're going to start with a set amount of revenue. Everything we sell over that is gravy.
I heard a little birdie told me that we're projecting over $20 million in revenue this year.
That is the truth. Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah.
So, and you know what's cool about that is you guys, and let's segue right into that because what's really cool about that is when you run an employee-owned company, and that's what you're aiming to do.
Yep.
Talking about revenue is fun. It's exciting. It's everybody's trying to move that needle, and the bigger we make that pie, the bigger my slice is, right? So we talk about that as well. But walk me through. I mean, I know you guys are right now in the process, so it's probably a top of mind for you. How are you setting up that employee stock ownership? Like, what's that program look like?
Yeah. So I'm probably the best person to ask that because I don't know the full details, to be honest with you.
Well, even just where you got the idea.
Yeah, so
most sales guys don't know the details.
Yeah, my thing is growth.
Like what time is the podcast?
What time we start? The address, those things.
Yeah, those things. The details, the important details.
Right.
That's definitely not the strong suit of most salespeople.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. That's where Kyle comes in. He's the director of operations. He is just the most detail oriented person. We butt heads a lot because of it, but it's a good thing, right?
Right.
So the idea came from originally when we first started this, right? When Steve contacted me, this is what we're going to do. Like, let's do it. The goal was to get it to $10 million and sell it, right? Sail off into the sunset, have a nice payday.
10 million EBITDA, 10 million
in revenue.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry. 10 million in revenue and sell it.
Should have sold it a couple years ago by the looks of it then.
Yeah, right. So then again, about a year goes by, year and a half goes by, you start forming relationships with the employees, which most of those employees are still here. You start forming these relationships, and if you sell it out, the entire sales team's gone. They're laid off. All of the CSRs, all of the office staff are laid off.
Can I just stop you there real quick? Because some of my agents might watch this, and that's not what we're looking to do, right? So our salespeople have to stay if somebody buys the business, right? So they wouldn't have a business if all the salespeople.
Now, if you have a great sales team,
right,
that makes that company more valuable.
Yeah.
So that is a whole different way.
And a lot of times there's earnouts and things like. Anytime I've seen it in my space, it's been a very positive change for employees, leadership, everyone involved, because normally you're partnering with a larger FMO or even a carrier that's going to get you access to more resources, more, it's just going to, more tech, all of that. It's going to streamline everything. So it's going to make the opportunity better for the employee overall. But of course, there are people that don't fit the new vision and things like that will, you have to handle that. So
there's horror stories in my industry.
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's in every industry.
That's part of the decision too.
Yeah, every industry
is
different. We saw a few companies, and it's kind of cool because when we first started, we were this little tiny fish, right? And I still think in the grand scheme of things, we are still a really tiny fish, right?
You're not working.
Yeah.
That's the only name I can think of.
Orkin Rollins. Yeah. They're a publicly traded company, you know. So we're still tiny compared to them, but when we first started, there were these companies that, to us, were huge companies, right? Still local companies that were doing $3-4 million in revenue. I'm like, man, that's going to be crazy when we get to that size. We get to know these companies. We see some of them sell out. We see what happens to some of the staff there. We end up hiring a lot of their technicians because they all left because of how bad the conditions got. So I think it just depends on the industry and then also who the purchaser is, right? So we saw that. We didn't want that to happen to our employees, right? Our employees are the driving force of our success. They're the reason why we're doing so well.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're having a great time here, getting to know all you need pest control and my man Sean. If you want to get to know them a little bit more, tune in for rapid fire questions.
I'm Sean Hearn with All You Need Pest Control. This is Rapid Fire. I got to go with the classic Forrest Gump.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
It was Country Grammar by Nelly. One of the best. Oh, college football all day. Go Gators.
Yes, it's one of life's most important questions. Do you go over or do you go under?
Oh, that's a good one. Personally, I think it should hang over. My wife thinks it's the other way, so we have this constant feud back and forth in our house.
I learned happy wife, happy life. That's what I learned.
Country Grammar by Nelly. It's my first album. That's the only song I know by heart, man. I'd say bed bugs are pretty darn hard. Bed bugs are pretty difficult. German roaches are number 2. I would eat termites. To me, termites are not nasty. You know, they're just there. I would eat termites if I had to. Jordan's the GOAT.
You have chosen wisely.
If it wasn't freezing cold, I'd be spearfishing. My favorite restaurant is Tikka Indian Restaurant down in Venice. It is the best Indian food I've ever had. And I go there probably once a week.
You know, you talked about one of the main reasons you wanted to make it an employee-owned company is you didn't want to see somebody buy it out and everybody get let go. Why do you think that happens in your industry so much? Is it because the people who buy it think they're just buying the customers and don't realize the value that's there in the company besides that?
I mean, that's exactly why, right? So the big private equity-backed companies or publicly traded companies, they're focused on customers, customer acquisition. That's the only way they know how to grow in most cases. So that's what they're doing is they're literally buying the routes.
Yeah.
You know, so they already have their own sales force. They already have their own CSR department, office staff. So
just rolling that up into
they're
what they
literally
have.
just rolling that right up into the business.
Which brings up an interesting point, right? The growth that you've seen in the employees and the customer growth and the revenue growth and all that stuff did not come from any acquisitions, correct?
Correct, yeah.
That's
it's
all homegrown.
All been organic.
That's amazing.
Yep. We've looked into a few acquisitions. We just haven't found anything that really fits, what we're looking for.
I mean, you guys are now at the size where it might make sense, at some point to do that.
You're
It's not that you were against
the boomers
it.
retiring or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It's so much about the organic growth, though. Like, I don't say there's nothing wrong with acquiring companies and things like that, but that sometimes can be the easy way out. The way you guys did it, brick by brick. I mean, that's the difficult grind.
Yeah, that is the difficult grind. But we have the system in place now, so that's the thing, right? A lot of companies don't necessarily have the system to grow. The reason why they are acquiring companies and a lot of times maybe overpaying for them is because they don't know how to grow these companies, right? So we've figured it out, So now it's just a matter of scaling that and continue to scale that.
To piggyback on that. What route do you guys take to actually hire employees? Tied to sales guys. How do you recruit sales guys?
Oh man, that's great. Honestly, the best guys we get are either friends or acquaintances of other sales guys, right?
You have a referral program for that?
We do have a referral program. We have a referral program for technicians, CSRs. I think the best employees we get are generally people that are acquainted to another employee, especially another successful employee, right? So if my top sales rep is telling his buddies how much he's making and they're like, oh, I want to make that or I want to do that, that's a much easier person to bring in and train up than some guy I met on the street, right?
They don't come in with
this on Indeed.
They don't come in with this like hesitance of, is this legit? Is this
correct?
Is this guy lying to me?
Yeah. Is this guy for real, or they have a friend that's doing it?
So that's been a bit of a challenge at like the satellite offices, right? So we have offices up in Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Tampa, Houston, and to get them, if you come to these offices down here that are established, you can see the culture. Yeah. You see it, you know it, you feel it. those are a lot easier to kind of sell them the vision,
Right.
if you will, right? The other offices, like, you know, for instance, St. Augustine's about a year old. I think we have 5 employees there. When someone shows up for a job interview, it's nothing crazy, you know. So you got to tell them, hey, look, you're trying to explain to them what this is all about.
Let's go take a trip to Sarasota or Fort Myers.
What we actually did this past year, this is actually Steve's idea. We did a big gala, right? We basically flew everyone in from
Pest control sexy.
It was awesome. We rented out a country club, flew everyone in from out of town, put them up in hotels for the weekend, and
that's awesome.
Had our awards, you know, ceremony and all that stuff. It was pretty eye opening even for me, and I kind of know how many people we have, but to see everyone in one place, was pretty wild. And shout out to Tweeds for hooking me for a custom suit for that too.
Tweeds, you got the inside of the jacket, all you need.
Yeah, did you see that?
Basically, your face all over it.
Right?
Trey, he came. Don's such a good salesperson, and actually, Tweeds is a great partner of the podcast. Does a phenomenal job marketing and all of that. But he comes on the podcast. Trey doesn't have a custom suit. He had a custom suit within about a month of that episode.
I always buy from the guests. That's my role on this podcast.
Pest control too. I'm switching
I
already told them I'm switching my company. Like this is a no brainer. Like I don't even. My wife texts me like, hey, can you text or can you call the pest control company? I'm like, I don't even know the name of the pest control.
He'll be here at 3:30.
4:30.
Yeah, my guys are definitely a little more timely than I am.
Yeah, good. Well, if they get the right time to be there, I'm sure they can be on time.
No, that was a stab at him. Yeah. We're sure it's his fault.
Yeah, you were on time. You were actually early. I miscommunicated. I own that, right? Extreme ownership. So
it's a great book, by the way.
It is a great book. Yeah. Let's talk about the future and your continued plans to expand. You're opening the 10th location, but beyond that, I mean, you're stopping at 10, you're going to 20. What's the goal?
Goals this year, 14 offices is the goal. Most of what we're going to try to do this year is now trying to put offices in existing markets and try to make things more efficient.
Yeah.
So Melbourne's going to be the next office we open. Okay. That is a totally new market for us. We're very excited about it. Now we want to try to backfill a few of our other markets and try to make them more efficient. Because again, the name of the game is efficiency.
Right.
You know. So the other offices we're going to open this year are going to be nothing really exciting, just trying to make things more efficient and you know, eventually become more profitable.
So how do you find a location? How do you
locations are a grind.
Yeah.
Just like door to door. That's basically what we're doing.
What are you looking for, though? Like,
I'm looking for
bugs.
An operator. Bugs are everywhere.
Bugs and homeowners, bro.
Yeah.
So you're saying, like, how do I identify new markets?
Yeah. So, like, are you have market research and you're going, hey, this is a great market to enter, or is it just if something comes up, maybe an operator or some manager, or what's dictating that?
Market research is probably one of the first things that we do. So I'm looking at things like new home sales, right? I want to see. What is there a net, migration to the area? Is that area growing? Right, that's always a catalyst for people buying pest control, is buying a new home.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we look into. Look at different age demographics, income demographics, stuff like that, and then we'll go knock a market before we start. So I'll literally send sales reps out and go check it out, see what it's
that's
like.
Smart.
Who are you using? Are you open to switching? What I just want to get a feel for how friendly people are there, right?
What happens if you get a signed contract by one of your sales guys? You don't have the location.
I won't let them sign it first. Yeah, it's a exploratory mission,
fair.
Right?
So you send out scouts. Does a dominant player in a certain area ever dissuade you from going there? Like someone who's just got a monstrous amount of market share in a small area.
So I when we first started, competition was definitely something that was scary, I'd say. What I'll tell you now is it's such a big market and there's so many players. I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of pest control companies in the state of Florida, right? So and we don't necessarily need to go get a giant piece of the pie in any market.
Right.
Our strategy is go get
a piece for your niece.
Yeah.
Okay, Grant Cardone.
So you're relying on the growth. I mean, if the pie keeps getting bigger, then there's more room for opportunity. Right?
Sure. Yeah. So if the pie itself, right, that market is growing, we just want to get a piece of that, or take a small piece of the existing pie. Right. We don't need to be the dominant force in every market. Do we want to be the best in our market? Yeah, we do, of course. Yeah. But we don't have to be. Right. I don't have to be the Terminix of every single
it's
market
kind of the
we're in.
benefit of starting lean in those locations too, right? You
Sure.
got, one tech and a sales guy or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's 5 in St. Augustine, like you said. So, I mean, you don't have a monster location there, but it's potential for growth if you guys are doing the right thing.
Sure. Yeah. Yes, we go there. We just start with enough to start getting the ball rolling and then scale accordingly.
So
right?
are you always promoting from within? Are you?
Yes.
So like that location will be run by a current employee more times than not, or 100%
Always,
of the time?
always, yeah. Because just how we do things, that's part of the motivation for guys is to continue to grow. Because if they go open up a new region, they're getting revenue share and stuff like that. So some different things we do for them. But yeah, the other thing is trying to bring somebody in from outside and trying to teach them the way we do things would take significantly longer than just somebody who knows how to do it. Hey, go do this over there.
You ever run in a situation where you can't get somebody to move to a place?
Send their wife to the hospital.
Yeah. So far we've been okay with that.
Yeah.
So, but that's how you keep your culture, right? Because when you go to these new areas, the person you send there to run it already knows to do it the all-you-need way, right?
Yep.
And so, and then if they're recruiting new people from the area, then they're learning the right way.
Sure. Yeah. Again, culture is the most important thing for
well, let's talk about hiring and recruiting. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the ownership program is going to be, pivotal in retaining employees, but and referrals. I mean, like you're getting, referrals from internal employees already, but what are you doing outside of that?
We try to do a little bit of everything, right? Indeed has been, I'm sure everyone uses Indeed, right? That's been one of the most successful things we've used for hiring. But honestly, it's as simple as, kind of grassroots there too. If I see somebody out, a server, bartender, I literally had somebody knock on my door the other day, and I'm like, dude, you need to come work for me.
You should sell pest control.
I'm not going to buy your solar, but listen,
I literally,
the real money is in pest control.
Yeah, no, I mean, the solar guys are outrageous right now, but no, I just hired a guy who's actually now one of my top reps. I hired him 3 months ago, and he knocked on my door Halloween night. Knocked on my door.
Trick or treat.
Yeah. I was like, man, what are you doing? What are you doing out here? And he's like, oh, it was like cable or something. I was like, man, he was working 2 jobs. I'm like, man, you don't have to do that. Let me tell you about what we got going on.
So recruit me. Like I'm a good salesperson. I want to find a new vertical, right?
Sure.
What are you selling?
I'm selling anything. I'm selling
so
insurance
I mean,
now,
first and foremost, I'm gonna figure out what you're selling, find out if you're happy where you're at or not, right? If you're just like anything, right? I'm not gonna sell something to somebody they don't need, right? If you're where you're at, you're happy, you're bought in. I'm probably not gonna be able to pull the sale on you. I'm probably not even gonna waste a lot of time.
But I'm already interested.
But let's say you're not particularly happy where you're at. You're looking to make more money. You're looking to have a better opportunity. I'm going to essentially explain to you, and we'll do it situationally, right? So
I'm selling solar door to door.
You come knock on my door. Perfect. I'm going to say, hey, look, right now you're a 1099 employee, right? You're probably selling one every 2 to 3 weeks. And you're lucky if
I'm really good. I sell one a week. But
one a week. So you're lucky if that gets installed, right? You're essentially going to be what I'm going to essentially try to do is explain to you that, I'm offering a salary position, right? Salary plus base plus bonuses. A lot of what these other companies are selling in, say, the door-to-door space is kind of this perception or this image of like, hey, this one guy in this one area sold this much and made $300,000, $400,000, so you can do it too.
Right, it's the old, you have unlimited earning potential.
Correct, right?
So that's how they all sell them.
So I try to sell them something a little more, honestly, a little more realistic, right? I try to get real with them. I say, look, guys, you have been promised this. What have you made? Are you making that right now? And most of them will say, well, and they never will tell you the straight answer.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there, right? Well, let me tell you what, man. I have a proven track record. I can show you employees' paychecks.
What's my starting salary?
You want me to go into the full details right now?
Just sell me on all you need. What is all you need to offer? That's so awesome. That's
for sure. Yeah. So basically,
I'm hoping that somebody watches this and says, "Dude, I want to work with Sean and all you need."
Yeah. So base pay, we pay $700 a week. We do commissions and then bonuses on top of that.
Okay. All W-2.
All W-2, right? So you're not 1099. We're paying a portion of your taxes. After you've hit 2 months of selling basically quota, right? We'll get you a work vehicle.
Love it.
Yeah. So average reps making between 80 and 100K a year. Top reps are making 130, 140. that's not really where it stops. That's kind of where it starts, right? Yeah. So from there, get promoted up to sales manager. From there, get promoted up to like a regional manager position. And at that point, the income, you're getting a percentage of the income for that region. Right. You're going to be making some pretty serious money.
With an opportunity for, Class B shares.
Correct. For employee ownership, you're looking at not having to work. We don't work Saturdays. We don't work evenings. None of that stuff.
Oh,
so
man,
you get
I'm
good.
out. I was going to sign up with all you need pest control for my house, but usually I need it on Sunday.
Yeah.
The bugs are really bad at my house on Sundays, particularly.
Yeah. So you're trying to sell them a little bit of work-life balance, but also the opportunity to make something more of yourself, right? Yeah. And I'm also going to share some stories of other employees that have done that, right? I have guys that are working in warehouses making $15
I had a guy live with me for 4 months.
Yeah. I mean, he was, he started out, he was 18 when he started with me. He moved here from Utah.
Wow.
I actually recruited him. He was out working for another company.
Mormon.
Mormon
are good door-to-door.
They are. The best door-to-door companies are coming from Utah.
Yeah.
In pretty much every space.
I believe it.
Every space. Solar, roof. There's a ton of roofing companies coming out there. Pest. They're all coming out of Utah.
Trey probably just lost a couple of his sales guys. They're going to all you need.
Well, we don't do door-to-door. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
I can't get them to knock on that door to save their life.
Yeah. No, it's so that's what I'm really trying to sell them, right?
You do any telesales?
No, I'm not really.
Really?
No, not really.
What's your social media presence like?
So it can be improved.
That's why he's on Sarasota.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. So we actually just hired a new director of marketing. He just started on Monday. So we're trying to beef that up a little bit.
Now let me give you some unsolicited advice.
It's worth what you pay for it.
Yep.
Once I started putting my mug on the camera and putting it on social media, talking my shit about roofing and all that other stuff, I did it with the intention to get more clients.
Yeah.
But now I got people asking to work for me constantly. I get they solicit me 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah.
All the time.
I'm being honest, Brad. I should. I'll veer them off. And I don't want to take on more than I know I can provide leads for, because our model isn't really door knocking. So
it's not volume. Yeah, you guys are not a sales company. You're a service company. We know that.
Yeah, you saw that clip. You get it.
Yeah, service company.
But if you get on social media, it'll be a byproduct. You talk about.
It's huge. I mean, that is part of why we want to get a little larger presence on social media. Yeah. So that will be a byproduct of that.
You got to start talking to the camera. Get your little bubble letters popping.
It's funny to say. I actually
it's true.
Hopped on social media. I looked at your videos this morning. It was this afternoon.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. If this guy can figure it out, anyone can.
Right, so listen, that is a perfect. I mean, when it comes to marketing, I give Trey a lot of shit because a lot of it's like what you might say is corny or cheesy or whatever, right? And I say that in the nicest way possible.
I say high energy.
Like if I say like, hey, if you need a roof, if you get a new roof, it better be strong.
There you go.
Like, it's called sticky marketing.
The first thing you think is like, well, that's kind of like that's a little quirky, But here's the thing:
who doesn't want a strong roof though?
Everybody
wants.
It works. But here's what I'll say: it works phenomenally, and a true example of this, as it pertains to Sarasota SpeaX, is roundabouts. So that was Trey's idea. There's a perfect segue into it. That was Trey's idea, so we always let him introduce it. But before he introduced it, I got to talk about when he first came to me with this idea. I'm like, yeah, I mean, roundabouts are prevalent in Sarasota. It's a hot button topic.
Yep.
And sure, we'll try it out. Like, why not? We'll try anything once. So we start doing this, and now it's like guests come on like, oh, I love the roundabout section, and like I can't wait to talk about. I got some real opinions on roundabouts. So with that being said, Trey, I'll tee it up for you.
Okay.
No tapping the table.
Bald as a cue ball. Terminator Law wants to know, what are your thoughts on roundabouts? Do you love them or do you hate them?
Oh man, that's I know that's a touchy subject for sure. I know people are pretty opinionated on roundabouts. My thought is, and maybe this is a little I've watched a lot of people's answers, and I think mine's going to go against popular opinion here. I personally think they're a great idea.
It's about 50-50.
Is it? Okay. To me, you pull up to a stop sign. Well, it's a great idea if everyone knows how to use them. That's the caveat.
That's always the caveat.
Right? So to me, you pull up to a stop sign, you have to come to a complete stop, and you have to look both ways before going across, right? A roundabout, you don't have to stop all the way, and you only have to look left.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's more simple. I don't know why.
In fact, you
From
might
like a
not know this.
chiropractor standpoint, you're not really.
In fact,
you're only one way.
here's a little known fact about roundabouts. They oftentimes put something in the middle that blocks your view straight across, so that you're only looking left and you're not looking at the oncoming traffic entering the roundabout.
I never knew that.
We learned so much about roundabouts.
We were excited to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
I know you have some big goals for All You Need, but one of our goals for Sarasota SpeaX is to have a roundabout named after us. So we're working hard to get a roundabout in Sarasota named after us.
That would be awesome.
And here's another funny one. St. Armand's, that's a different kind of round. I mean, that's a different roundabout in and of itself.
Sure.
But we had this B-roll footage in the new studio, which is coming soon, by the way. Be ready for that. We had this B-roll footage, and it's like just Envato, like you just, he pays for a subscription. We can pull B-roll off, and he puts it up there. And if you watch closely, there's a car going around the roundabout, and they're whipping around, and skirt, they get cut off, and it's almost an accident on the B-roll footage.
Oh, no kidding.
Dude, I sent you we'll have to watch it. It's hilarious because it's just B-roll, and it just so happens to be a car almost getting on an accident or on a roundabout. So it's good stuff. But it is, I mean, back to the corny marketing. It's not corny if it works, right?
Hey,
it's only corny if you do it.
He says he
and
doesn't.
He's
He's not a sales company. This guy's got some marketing ideas.
I'm more of a marketer.
Yeah.
he's good at it. I'll give him that. And the podcast was really all their ideas. So that worked as well. I mean, this thing's taken off, and it's also a lot of fun. We get to meet great business owners like yourself and hear these awesome stories. So another perfect segue.
Well, wait. I gotta ask this.
That was a perfect segue.
Sorry, man.
That was just cut off from the roundabout. I was entering the roundabout, and then Felipe just stopped in the middle of the roundabout.
Hey, that's part of the brilliance of the roundabout. Well, I'm already inside, so I get to keep going.
There you go.
I got the right of way. Fair. Right. Yeah, I wanted to talk kind of more about just, your impressions on, you had your choice of essentially whatever business to get into from the ground up.
Sure.
And you started this from the ground up.
Sure.
And you chose a trade.
Yeah.
I happen to think it's the golden age of trades because
man.
I'm into demographics and I see kind of how the population's aging and how the population's growing here. It's kind of like the perfect storm.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on how you feel being in trades at this time?
If I could give any advice to any 18-year-old kid getting ready to graduate high school, learn a trade. Whether you go to trade school, work for somebody, learn it.
Absolutely.
Get really good at it and start your own business. Yeah. I think college is, and I went to college, right? I can tell you.
Is this before the bug college?
This was before the bug college,
okay.
yeah. That's a great question.
What's that big word that you used instead of bug college?
Yeah.
Apple peppermint or whatever.
Apple peppermint, yeah, that's what it was.
So it's bug college.
Bug college, yeah. We'll call it bug college.
We don't fact check and we don't use big words on this podcast.
It's Roach. If it was UF, it was Roach College.
Roach College, yeah. No, so I mean, I think I had a great time in college. Don't get me wrong. I met a lot of my best friends there. I had a lot of fun times there. But I'll tell you that from a purely business standpoint, I haven't used a single thing that I learned in college. Yeah. I did not. If anything, it cost me money.
Until you went to bug college.
And then I went to bug. I actually did use that.
Yeah, use that every day.
Yeah.
So that kind of like follows what he says. It's kind of a trade.
All right, Felipe, are you satisfied with that answer? Because I got another.
I'm mostly.
I'm going to try to set back
elaborate on that.
I just think it's really cool that you took that, because I didn't know you, and that's one of the things that we do on this podcast. We bring on people that have extraordinary stories that are tied to our area that other people would want to hear. Yeah, and I genuinely wanted to hear what you had to say and just kind of how you got started.
Yeah,
and Trey and we just didn't give a shit.
Brad cut you off.
we didn't care. We were just here to put ourselves on camera, basically.
That's fair.
But you know what I mean. I mean, if you see the real,
that's not for real.
But if you see the real, today's guest, like Pest Control Company, like people have no idea, all what goes into this.
Here, the marketer, how to scale your blue collar trade from 0 to 22 million.
Yeah, if you buy this course for
right.
If you buy this course for $99.97, $9,997, you can make.
There's enough of those guys
unlimited.
out there.
Yeah, but but one of the reasons we highlight these kinds of things is because a lot of the folks who watch this podcast are really they want to find a way to live and work here, but also not have their potential capped just because of the nature of this market.
Sure, and
100%.
I think Sarasota is a great market for any business. I mean, there's a lot of.
Yeah, what's your top location?
Fort Myers, because that was the original one. That
right.
still is our top, but the Venice office is our second.
So if we took...
top in terms of revenue or in terms of growth?
So growth, obviously, the bigger you get, percentage-wise, growth tends to slow. So revenue-wise, it is the top office. My Venice office, I don't know if it's because the the growth we've had in this area, but it is not slowing down.
Yeah.
I expect it to pass the Fort Myers
But not to get
office.
mathy.
South Sarasota, we call that, right?
South Sarasota. Yeah,
You could
yeah.
probably even normalize for size and still have like some sort of metric to understand like who's actually growing organically faster.
Sure.
ChatGPT can tell you.
Yeah,
It
like
probably
we were
could,
talking
yeah.
about before.
Put the data in there, and it'll just shoot
Just
it
do
out.
it all.
There
We're
you
all
go.
gonna all our jobs are gonna be replaced by ChatGPT.
All right, so back to where was I before? Okay, so before Felipe interrupted me, I was perfect.
Hey, I was in the roundabout, Brad.
I was segueing. In fact, I was talking, so I think I was in the roundabout. But it was a perfect segue to and you know, Felipe brought it up, right? He didn't know you. Trey didn't know you. I got to hear your story over the phone a little bit, and obviously wanted to get it on the podcast. But you know, you may know some people that we don't know that Sarasota needs to hear from in this area, doing big things, or even just a great like leader. I would love to meet the president or the president.
I'd like you guys to meet the whole leadership.
Sounds
team,
like a great.
I handle growth. But none of this would be possible without those guys too, and honestly, the whole team, right? So as much as I'm here representing the team, and I do handle a lot of the aspects of the growth. If it was up to me, it'd be total chaos without those guys. Yeah, and I'll be honest, because I was an hour late for the podcast.
You were early. I gave you the wrong information. I won't fact check it either, but. Outside of your company, because obviously we heard the All You Need story, and we would love to have you back on down the road when you do hit the 14, locations, or you're at 24 locations. But outside of that, someone local or maybe a couple people, if anything comes.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, you've already had a few of the guys I'd recommend on. The Oyster Boys.
Yeah.
They're crushing it, dude. I love those guys.
You know those guys?
Yeah, dude.
Great guys.
Matt's a good buddy of mine.
Yeah,
they're killing it. Then obviously Donald at Tweeds. Man, that guy's a stud. Seriously,
yes, he is, and a partner of the podcast. So
okay, awesome.
He's an official sponsor.
Well,
so
we'll
have more.
I'll say that without him being a sponsor, he's a
Agreed.
great dude. There's definitely some different folks I'd probably recommend. My favorite coffee shop.
Okay.
This is who I would recommend.
There you go.
It's Manuel and Amanda at Palma Coffee. I don't know if you guys have been to Palma Coffee.
Where's it at?
Just south of Clark on 41. Okay. It's just tucked away in this little kind of Coral Cove shopping center. Okay. I think it's
called.
It's a great recommendation. I love it.
Oh man, dude.
We started with coffee. And we're going to end with coffee.
Which one was coffee?
He was going to be a barista with blue hair.
Yeah, blue hair. Yeah,
that one went right over my head. I got you.
But no, it's a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't know. I think they're husband and wife. But
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but they're together, right? They own this business together. They're awesome people, man. They'll fly out to like these, Ecuador or Colombia or whatever.
Scouting the beans out.
Literally go hand pick the beans, ship them back. I mean, if you guys are looking for a good cup of coffee, these are the guys. These are the guys. So
there you go.
I like it when the coffee's good, but I also like it when they have a story to tell like that. Oh. These are from this mountainside on the that's great. That makes it taste better.
Yeah, in Ecuador, right?
Yeah.
I can tell. Felipe's like, where in Ecuador? Is it? I don't even know a region to name. But
on the east slope of the, I love that stuff.
Oh, they'll tell you all about it, man. They're good people. They're good people.
I got to go down there.
Yeah, check it out. So those would be cool. Just to kind of hear their story might be cool to have on the show.
Well, awesome, man. I want to open it up last minute to say anything you didn't say real quick. Otherwise, amazing episode, great story, and look forward to hearing more of the success.
Sure. Yeah. We're 22.5 million's the goal this year. It wouldn't be possible without the team we got.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I said, the leadership team we have is awesome.
Shout out to the All You Need team.
All You Need team.
They're all Sean needs.
Yeah, they're all we need here. So.
And soon to be employee owners.
Yeah, soon to be employee owners. Yeah, so that's definitely very, very exciting. Obviously, if anyone watching this needs pest control, give us a call.
Yeah, All You Need Pest Control is serving all of Sarasota.
We'll let them
Venice.
when we do the the rapid fire. We'll let you do a little promo.
Okay, sweet, awesome.
So looking for a great job that really is more than a job but a potential career. Looking to get rid of those bed bugs, right?
Yeah, bugs.
Sean will personally get rid of the bed bugs because they're his favorite, so he'll show up to your house. But yeah, looking for pest control, looking for employees, and looking to continue to serve the Sarasota market. So
of course,
if you're watching this, give this guy a call, and we appreciate you coming on.
Sure,
man.
Thanks guys.
Dude, man,
appreciate
you're awesome.
it.
Thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
Great job.